Well, to talk a bit more about the COVID picture here in France and across Europe as well, our foreign affairs editor Armen Georgian is with me. And Armen, we heard in that report about possible restrictions here in France. Do the figures suggest that it is now time for new measures?
Well, I think the media narrative focuses on infections, but we also have to look at deaths. And has the link between infections and deaths been broken? That's really the key question, I think. And certainly if you look at the situation today in France compared to this time a year ago, yes, that link does appear to have been broken. If we take November the 21st from this graph, so this is from Our World in Data and Johns Hopkins University, various other sources, you can see absolutely no comparison to the same day last year. Here we have 15 deaths on the 21st of November and an average weekly death rate of 44 compared to average weekly deaths of 610 at the same time last year in this peak. And obviously, if it wasn't for the vaccination, we would now be seeing this same very steep rise that happened in October and November last year. We're not seeing that here, even though it's exactly the same conditions, colder weather, more people indoors, but we can see a much flatter curve here compared to the same time last year. So I think we have to look at infections linked to deaths rather than just take infections in some abstract vacuum. And I think when we look at these figures, we can see that it's, this is something that the government in France is going to have to think about when it thinks of perhaps further restrictions, because this idea that was prevalent last year, people staying at home to save lives, there was that slogan, I'm staying at home, I'm saving lives, a thing that spontaneously a lot of people put on their social media. That is not going to work this time, this winter, because the mood has changed and the figures have changed as well.
So those are the death figures from here in France. As you said, relatively good news there, but across Europe, the picture's pretty troubling, isn't it? Well,
it's troubling in the sense that there doesn't seem to be a durable turnaround in Europe, neither in terms of the economy nor in terms of restrictions on people. And we've seen a partial lockdown imposed in the Netherlands, with restaurants and so forth closed from 8 p.m. Austria has gone one step further, of course, with a full lockdown. And what those restrictions do is, I think they fuel, in a sense, they bolster opponents of the state, not just in those countries, but opponents of the state, for example, in France, who've been saying for a long time, if you think just get your third jab or your fourth jab, they'll leave you alone. No, because you'll have your fourth jab and you'll have a curfew, or you'll have your fifth jab and you'll have a national lockdown. And in a sense, the events in Austria sort of boost that view, because Austria has locked everyone down. So those who are vaccinated, who thought, oh, we're going to get out of this now, no, they suddenly find themselves at home locked down. So governments are going to have to be very careful now, faced with this resentment from the population in general about more restrictions, including lockdowns. And at the same time, obviously, they'll have to be mindful of this very alarming predictions from the World Health Organization this Tuesday about possibly up to 2 million dead in total from COVID in the broader European region by March 2022.
Armen Georgian, thank you very much indeed for your analysis there on the programme.